Bangkok, July 5, 2017 morning light spills across a quiet neighborhood in Bangkok. Inside a villa, a man leans into the glow of his laptop. Online, he is a ghost with a name, Alpha-02. Offline, he is a young multimillionaire with a taste for fast cars, multiple homes, and the feeling of being untouchable. A thunderous crash tears through the calm. A Toyota Camry has slammed into the front gate. He drops everything and runs outside. It is the smallest of mistakes, triggered by the loudest of sounds, and it will decide everything. The driver is not a random motorist. She is an officer with Thailand's Royal Police. Out of sight, investigators from the FBI, and backed by partners across 7 countries, have waited months for this exact window. Today, the question will be answered. Does the hunt for the so-called king of the dark web end here? The new shadow economy early 2010s. The dark web accelerates. Anonymity tools promise cover. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies offer a way to move money without banks or borders. A new marketplace emerges where contraband is sold with the efficiency of e-commerce. The chase between law enforcement and darknet entrepreneurs becomes a global game of cat and mouse, and it hasn't stopped since. At the start stood Silk Road, launched in 2011, mythologized almost instantly. Over 100,000 customers found drugs there before the site was seized. 2.5 years later, and its founder sentenced to life. The message seemed clear. The business heard something else. There's money here. Closures didn't end the model. They diversified it. Silk Road 2.0 appeared in just 35 days and lasted less than a year. Evolution grew fast, held user funds in escrow, and then vanished with the money in an exit scam. Agra looked like the heir apparent until its operators pulled the plug voluntarily in 2015, sensing heat. Arrests, hacks, scams, self-shutdowns. Out of this churn, one market learned, adapted, and surged past the rest. AlphaBay rises in July 2014. A new administrator, Alpha-02, begins building AlphaBay. 5 months later, the site opens. At first, it's a hub for stolen credit card data and logins. Then the catalog widens. Drugs, malware, weapons, laundering services. Rules are few but notable. No child abuse material, no hit-and-run services, and no stolen Russian bank accounts, a familiar line on many forums that prefer not to provoke certain law enforcement agencies. It also conveniently hints at a Russian persona. AlphaBay feels like a dark mirror of mainstream commerce sites. Search bars, categories, vendor pages, dispute resolution. Buyers pay in Bitcoin, later Monero, and Ethereum. A built-in tumbler mixes transactions to blur money trails. Where other markets flicker, AlphaBay stabilizes. Users pour in. Within a year, 200,000 plus accounts, 40,000 sellers. By 2017, more than 300,000 listings and over $500,000 in daily sales. The platform takes 2 to 4% of every transaction. The admin becomes rich, very rich. The team grows. A trusted lieutenant, Snake, handles operations and communications. Moderators mediate disputes. A PR manager shapes messaging. Eventually, Alpha-02 renames himself simply Admin and steps back from day-to-day work. All public contact funnels through Snake. As he retreats, American investigators lean in. The problem is simple to state and hard to solve. Who is Admin? The first break investigators know that Tor hides server locations by bouncing traffic across the globe. They buy drugs undercover, catching small dealers when they slip wrong label here, traceable stamp there. But this nibbles at the edges. The center remains concealed. Then, December 2016, Fresno, California. Robert Miller of the D opens an email from an anonymous source. The tipster claims AlphaBay's founder made a mistake in the site's earliest days. Back then, new users got a welcome email. For a short window, those emails exposed the real sender address in their metadata. The error was quickly fixed, but not before someone saved one. The address, pimp_alex_91@hotmail.com. Digital breadcrumbs begin to align. Old Skyrock profiles from 2008 to 2009 surface photos of an Alex. A linked dating page lists Trois-Rivières, Quebec. The 91 might be a birth year. The age fits. He'd be 23 when AlphaBay launched. On a French tech forum, Alpha02 appears in 2008, explaining how to remove a virus from an image. At the bottom, the same email and a full name, Alexandre Cazes. From there, the map fills in. A PayPal account with the same personal email. A LinkedIn page describing him as a freelance developer and head of EBX Technologies. A Facebook profile of his fiancée, a Thai citizen. The trail stretches from Quebec to Bangkok. With Thai authorities, investigators identify 3 Bangkok properties tied to Cazes. A villa in a gated community where he lives with his wife, a second house in the city, and an opulent mansion on the outskirts. Add a holiday home in Phuket and an ongoing purchase in Cyprus. They watch him. He likes to drive Lamborghini, Porsche, and to be seen. They map his routes and they map his routines. One residence becomes known to the team as the Bachelor Pad. Cazes is active on a pickup artist forum under Romeo, posting stilted sermons on traditional values alongside boastful logs of his affairs. The contrast between his online empire and his ordinary schedules is striking. Early riser, social media checks, hours at a computer, language classes, dinners out. Predictability, a hunter's friend. Operation Bayonet across the Atlantic, a parallel story unfolds. Hansa Market, a European darknet hub, is swelling with users. Dutch investigators, tipped by a security researcher, trace Hansa's servers to a Dutch data center. They copy them quietly, mining the operator's chat logs. The admins appear to be Germans. With the BKA, German Federal Criminal Police, the Dutch prepare to take over the site. But the servers vanish. Spooked, the admins migrate. Tracing Bitcoin wallets mentioned in chats, investigators follow funds to a Dutch crypto exchange, then onward to Lithuania. The new hosting location is identified. A plan is drawn up. Enter the Americans with news. They intend to arrest Alpha02 and seize AlphaBay. Rather than run 2 takedowns separately, the agencies coordinate. Operation Bayonet is led by the FBI and DIA, with partners in 7 countries and the support of Europol. The sequence is precise. First, the Dutch and Germans will seize Hansa quietly and keep it running under law enforcement control. Then, when AlphaBay disappears, the flood of displaced users will pour into Hansa Strait into a honeypot. During that surge, investigators will capture identifiers, behaviors, addresses, shipping patterns, and operational mistakes at scale. If it works, the aftermath of AlphaBay's fall won't scatter the crowd, it will expose them. The net tightens June 20th, 2017. Dutch teams storm the Lithuanian data center, hosting Hansa. German officers arrest the 2 German admins in Zieken and Cologne. The timing is surgical. The operators have no chance to warn anyone. Hansa stays online, but now the Dutch are at the controls. No public announcement. No banners. Just business as usual, with every click observed. In Bangkok, Cazes continues his routines, cars, forums, mistresses, meals, unaware that the stage is set. Bangkok, the door opens July 5th, 2017. Warrants are signed. The Royal Thai Police, D, and FBI move. A gray Toyota Camry turns onto the quiet dead end leading to the villa. The driver, an undercover Thai officer, tells the guard she needs to turn around. She misjudges the space and clips the gate. Metal groans, neighbors glance, And exactly as hoped, Cazes steps outside, phone in hand, instincts ahead of strategy. The plan hinges on no seconds. If he reaches his computer and locks it full disk encryption, dead-bolted access to AlphaBay's infrastructure could vanish for good. If he is detained while logged in, the doors swing the other way. Cazes sees the car. He moves toward it. Officers converge. He turns to bolt, perhaps to close a lid, hit a switch, but he's taken down. Agents rush the bedroom. The laptop is open and awake. On screen, admin is still connected to the AlphaBay servers. What follows is a harvest. Credentials for servers and admin panels, notes, keys, pathways. It is the jackpot Operation Bayonet needed. Beyond the laptop, the inventory of wealth astonishes, but does not surprise. Roughly $23 million in assets, cryptocurrency, houses, cars, even a hotel. Authorities seize what they can. His wife is charged locally with money laundering. 1 week later, July 12, 2017, while in custody, Alexandre Cazes dies by suicide. The chase ends in a cell. The trap springs AlphaBay goes dark. For a few days, the darknet speculates. Exit scam? Hack? Retirement? Users do what users always do, they migrate. They flee to familiar alternatives. Hansa takes a lion's share. For 4 weeks, Dutch investigators watch the influx thousands of vendors and customers. Abrupt changes in AO, sloppy mistakes by fresh arrivals. Accounts are linked, supply chains mapped, shipping patterns logged, Bitcoin behaviors profiled. It is a forensic windfall. On July 20th, 2017, the window closes. Hansa is shuttered. On the same day, authorities publicly announce AlphaBay's dismantling. The 1-2 strike is complete, a rare moment where coordination at scale outpaces a community built on evasion. What the dark web is, and isn't the dark web itself, is a tool, not a verdict. It offers safer channels for journalists, whistleblowers, dissidents, and citizens living under surveillance. That space matters. It must exist. But alongside it, there are always markets like AlphaBay. As long as demand for drugs, weapons, stolen data, counterfeits, and malware persists, supply will surface there, or somewhere like it. Bayonet did not end the economy. It reset it. Soon new platforms surged. The Russian language market Hydra ballooned at one point twice AlphaBay's size before. German and USA authorities brought it down in 2021. The title, King of the Dark Web, keeps circulating because the throne is never empty for long. And then a familiar signature resurfaced, DeSnake. In 2021, he relaunched AlphaBay under his stewardship. As of now, he still claims to run it. Coda, the gate, the screen, the lesson a car nudged a gate in Bangkok, and a man stepped outside. In those seconds, years of careful compartmentalization pseudonyms, tumblers, proxies, servers collapsed because a human moved faster than his protocol. That is the paradox at the core of these stories. Systems seek perfect security. People live imperfect lives. AlphaBay's rise was a study in scale. How to industrialize illicit trade. Its fall was a study in timing. How to synchronize agencies, jurisdictions, and a single open laptop. Somewhere right now, another market is onboarding vendors with a friendlier UI and a new rule set that looks just like the old one. Somewhere, another task force is staring at packet captures and purchase logs, waiting for a crack no algorithm can predict. The game continues. But for Alpha 02, the end came the moment a door opened and a screen stayed on.